We got 5 players. We're going to discuss who Tennessee might miss the most. So let's do it this way. Instead of going rogue, let's do it. What down is it, Coop, as we get rolling?
Coop here. First down.
Thanks, Coop. And what should people do?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
All right. Tennessee's first down question is the Vols' biggest loss on the offensive side of the ball is whom?
Well, that's their biggest loss, period, and that would be Jaylen Wright. That is the one player they're going to miss. Tennessee does not have a feature back right now this year, yet. They may find one in Peyton Lewis, but they didn't just have a feature back in Jaylen Wright. They had a feature back who was a future NFL star last year.
I'm going to debate that because I think that Tennessee's offense can make a running back look better than he is. It would be great to have Jaylen Wright back, but I think Jeremiah Crawford at right tackle is definitely in the conversation if you'd like to have back, because then you would have John Campbell at left tackle and you wouldn't have to take the risk of a transfer. There's always a risk, right?
Wow, David. So for those who don't know, Jeremiah Crawford just missed my list, and I considered putting him on there. We talked about it this morning, and then I thought about it. I'm like, on just a general scale, would you rather have Lance Hurd and John Campbell or John Campbell and Jeremiah Crawford? I think you're taking Lance Hurd and John Campbell. So I think Tennessee might upgrade at tackle.
I wouldn't. I would take the known as opposed to the unknown. For all I know, Lance Hurd is schizophrenic and wild and crazy when I recruit him. But I know Campbell and Crawford. Yeah, so I would take the known over the unknown.
I sometimes I really have respect for Crawford. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was just as tough as nails and a great leader. So you make a good point. You could convince me to replace one of the guys on my list on that, because Crawford did make my list, but I couldn't do it because there are people I left off because of the talent Tennessee brought in there. I mean, another great example, a great leader, just so people know, I left McCallan Castles off my list because Ethan Davis, I think, is going to play the same role. Just he's too good to not be better than Castles.
Yeah, I was watching Kitzelman in practice, and I think he's going to be really good, the transfer from Alabama.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
Who does Tennessee miss most on the defensive side of the ball?
It's the and I debated with this because I think they're significantly deeper in the secondary, but I think there are 2 defensive backs they're going to miss as a tie for the most, and I named them both: Gabe Jeudy-Lally and Jalen McCullough. And the reason is Gabe Jeudy-Lally was a utility player that you really want on your team, and I think they're hoping a Jacoby Thomas or Jalen McMurray will be that, but there's no evidence that they could be what Gabe Jeudy-Lally was. The other one is Jalen McCullough, and they're already missing him because Jordan Thomas has gone down for the season. And so I think Jalen McCullough is a very, very good safety, was a reliable player for Tennessee. So I do think they're going to miss him.
Now, and I would probably lean more towards Gabe Jeudy-Lally because I thought he was more versatile. So I think he can do a little bit more things, but I think McCullough is the better overall player. What down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
All right. We mentioned Jacob Warren, and I'm curious how
Not
much
yet. We're mentioning Jacob Warren.
We are mentioning Jacob Warren as the second player on the offensive side that Tennessee would miss the most. I'm not here to say that Warren is the most athletic tight end in the world, but his leadership, his dependability cannot be overrated. He was there and did what he was supposed to do, and that's why he was such a key to this offense. Even though he didn't catch a lot of balls, he was a good blocker as well.
So the important part about Josh Heupel's offense that everybody needs to know is he switches tight ends each drive. One drive, he has the tight end that stretches the field and is the athletic guy, and then the next drive, he has the blocking tight end. Jacob Warren was always the blocking tight end. He complimented Princeton Fant in 2022, and he complimented McCallan Castles last year. This year, I told you guys I'm leaving out Castles because I think Ethan Davis will be better. But I put Jacob Warren on because I know you mentioned Miles Kitzelman, Dave. But as important as it is for the blocking tight end to be physical and just have a great body type, understanding the offense and being a smart player is as important. And Jacob Warren was the smartest player on the team last year. He understood the offense. And I just don't know that Miles Kitzelman can pick that up. I mean, Jacob Warren was in the offense for 3 years and was already a really smart player. You wanted him out there as much as possible. So because of that, I don't see how Tennessee doesn't have a drop-off on the blocking tight end side from Warren to whether it be Kitzelman or whoever, or Charlie Brown or whoever else steps in.
But the fact that McCallan Castles was able to have an impact as a transfer in year number 1, does that?
McCallan.
Yes.
McAllen Castles was just the receiving tight end. I think it's a little easier to be
Okay.
the receiving tight end than the blocking tight end in this system.
Yeah, there's a lot of shielding going on. It's difficult on footwork. So we said players that Tennessee missed on offense and defense. Let's wrap up the list.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
For 4th down. So we've mentioned Gabe Jeudy-Lally, Jalen McCullough, Jacob Warren, Jaylen Wright. But the guy that's on your list that should have come back, that could have come back, is Jabari Small. If Tennessee has Jabari Small, you erase one of the major question marks, and that is Tennessee's depth at tailback or lack thereof. He should have come back to school.
Totally agree. See, this is why Jaylen Wright was number 1 on my list, because Tennessee needs a feature back. You are right. They can plug a feature back in if you're just average. We don't know if they have an average feature back. And Jaylen Wright wasn't just average. Jaylen Wright was elite. He's going to be an NFL star, guys. Jabari Small was probably average. I would say above average. He ran hard. He was a tough player. He was a blocker. He was a team guy. He would have thrived this year. He would have gotten all the carries. And Jabari Small is what you just talked about. You just need a feature back that can do the job. Jabari Small can do the job, and that's going to make him look great. And I'm with you. He should have come back. He is better than Cam Selden. He is more reliable than Dylan Sampson because of his pass pro. He's more proven than Peyton Lewis. And they're going to miss him because now they're in a situation where if Peyton Lewis doesn't work out, I'm telling you guys, they're in serious trouble at running back this year.
Now, I think they're in trouble. Probably not as much trouble as you do because you don't like Selden, but I think Selden's going to be okay. 4 downs today brought to you by our good friend Medicare Misty. And then I'll tell you what other player that Tennessee will miss that was not mentioned in 4 downs.
I've been in business actually 19 years this year. I've been in the community since 1993. You're getting a lot of information. Unlike when you were working, they made the choice for you. Now you have to make the choice. Come to us and let us help you make it easy. Call Medicare Misty, MedicareMisty.com or 423-777-5577. Let us help them sleep at night.
And we call her Medicare Misty.
No charge to work with Medicare Misty, and she is certified in over 40 states. So just because we cover Tennessee and the SEC, don't think that you can't take advantage of the services that Medicare Misty can offer, and they are fantastic. You left one off. And Caleb was nice enough to get me prepared. He sent some unmentioned ones, and we mentioned a couple of them. Jeremiah Crawford, Ramel Keaton, Charles Campbell, Aaron Beasley, McAllen Castles. But there's one you left off.
Elephant in the room?
Chase McGrath.
Well, no, Charles Campbell was who? He was. You're mixing 2022. Chase McGrath was a 2022 kicker. Charles Campbell was a 2023 kicker.
Okay, Charles Campbell. Excuse me. That to me, turning it over to Turbeville, who I hope has a fantastic year, and I know his family, and I think he will have a fantastic year. But without Campbell, who you did have in there, so I apologize. There is at least a question mark with a team that is going to play in some close games, Caleb. And I would much rather have a bona fide kicker than an unknown place kicker heading into a season like this.
But we didn't. So you were right with Chase McGrath in 2022, but Charles Campbell was never put in a situation where he needed to make a significant kick last year. And so I think or did he make one against Kentucky? I think that he may have made a key one against Kentucky. You guys kind of quote me on that, but you guys can fact check me on that. I won't mind. I won't be offended. But I do believe Josh Turbeville will be a reliable kicker for Tennessee. There's an open competition at kicker. Somebody's bound to work out there. And here's the thing about kicker. It's so mental. And Josh, that it depends on the coach whether or not the coach can make you confident enough to kick. And I know this because Michael Pilardi struggled a lot under Derek Dooley, and whatever you want to say about Butch Jones, he was much better for Michael Pilardi's mentality because he knew how to talk to kickers. Whereas Derek Dooley was like, "Don't you miss this kick? You better not miss this kick." And it's like,
son of a
yeah.
If you miss this kick, I will kill you.
And you know that you can hear Derek Dooley getting mad like that, right? And it messed with kicker psyche a lot. So I do think Michael Pilardi, I'm not Michael Pilardi, listen to myself, I do think because there's open competition, they'll find the right guy. And that's why I left him off the list. So we mentioned Campbell, Castles, Crawford. I got to mention 3 more real quick. You mentioned Ramel Keaton. Love Ramel Keaton. Tennessee's too deep at receiver this year. That's why they're not going to miss him. Love you, Ramel. You were a great guy, but they're too loaded. Aaron Beasley was a reliable player. Aaron Carter's going to be better. And then the last one, the Avi that we haven't touched on, elephant in the room, didn't mention Joe Milton.
Well, I mean, I think that everybody thinks it's an upgraded quarterback. If it's not, then we can certainly second guess ourselves. But
yeah, that's the same with Aaron Beasley. It's an upgraded linebacker too, not because Aaron Beasley wasn't a solid player, but because we all expect Aaron Carter to be significantly better, don't we?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing too, if Nico doesn't live up to the hype, you know how stubborn Josh Heupel is. There's not going to be a change.
Josh Heupel can't. He leveraged way too much on Nico. What's the old saying? It's like, if I give you $1,000 loan and you can't pay it back, you got a problem. If I give you a $300 million loan and you can't pay it back, we both got a problem then, right? And
I haven't heard that before, but I like it.
Yeah. Nico is the $300 million loan. If Nico can't deliver on all the investments they made in him, that's not a problem for Nico. That's a problem for Nico and Tennessee. They are tied together. Josh Heupel's future is tied to Nico.
When you talk about investment, I think people naturally think about that $2 million. It's more than that. It's the time invested in practice that,
yes,
the snaps that could go to Merklinger or Gastamore or whoever. It's, he can't be a bust. I mean, if he were a bust and Tennessee did not finish inside the top 25, it would be the major story in college football.
It is the equivalent of, you've seen this, Dave, a lot of times. The Titans did this hiring Brian Callahan as head coach, and they're going to regret it. Coaches are hired to coach certain quarterbacks that the franchise wants to build around. The coach and the quarterback's future is tied together, right? If the quarterback doesn't work out, the coach is gone. And that is the situation. And that's why the Titans will regret it, because Will Levis isn't going to work out. I don't care who coaches him. And so in college, you're seeing that with Heupel. Heupel's entire future depends on Nico Iamaleava succeeding.
That sounds like a strong statement, but I tend to agree with it.